I was a travel blogger. My whole life was a loop of airports, hotel lobbies, and perfectly staged photos of pristine white sheets and artisanal soaps. I'd stayed in over 200 hotels in 5 years. I thought I'd seen everything. Then I found the Asteria. It wasn't in any guidebook. It was a tiny boutique hotel tucked away on a side street in Rome, discovered by accident when my Airbnb fell through. The website was simple, almost primitive. A single page with a photo of the facade and a line of text, the Asteria, where every guest is remembered. Charming, I thought. Good content for the blog. I arrived late at night. The lobby was small but elegant, filled with antique furniture and the smell of old books. The woman at the desk was ancient, with papery skin and eyes the color of faded denim. She smiled as I approached, but it was a slow, knowing smile, like she was remembering a joke I hadn't heard yet. "Welcome back, Mr. Vance," she said. I blinked. "I'm sorry, I think you have me confused with someone else. This is my first time here." Her smile didn't waver. "Of course, dear. First time. Room 27. The lift is to your right." Room 27 was beautiful. High ceiling, a fresco of cherubs on the wall, a balcony overlooking a tiny courtyard. I took photos, wrote some notes, and fell into the most comfortable bed I'd ever experienced. I slept like the dead. The next morning, I went down for breakfast. The old woman was there, pouring coffee. "Did you sleep well, Mr. Vance?" she asked. "You always did love this room." I frowned. "I've never been here before." She just chuckled and patted my hand. "Of course, dear. Of course." I spent the day exploring Rome, but the woman's words nagged at me. That evening, I decided to investigate. I went to the small library off the lobby and started looking through old guest books. They went back decades, leather-bound volumes filled with handwritten names and dates. I started with the most recent book and worked my way back. 2019, 2015, 2010, nothing. I was about to give up when I found a volume from 1985. I flipped through the pages, and there it was. James Vance, Room 27, September 12th to 15th. A wonderful stay. I will never forget this place. My heart skipped a beat. James Vance was my grandfather's name. Had died before I was born. I knew had traveled, but I never knew where. I kept digging. 1962, another entry. James Vance, Room 27, with my beloved wife, Elena. Our honeymoon. Elena was my grandmother. She had passed away when I was 10. I'd never seen a photo of them together from that time. I was shaking now. I went back further. 1948, James Vance, Room 27. Alone. The city is healing. So am I. That was the year after the war. My grandfather had fought in Italy. The oldest book was from 1925. I opened it carefully, the pages brittle with age. Near the back, in elegant cursive, I found it. James Vance, Room 27. With my parents. A summer to remember. My great-grandparents. The name was the same. The handwriting was the same. My family had been coming to this hotel for nearly a century. All of them staying in the same room. I went back to the lobby. The old woman was waiting, as if she knew I'd come. "You remember now," she said. It wasn't a question. "What is this place?" I whispered. "The Asteria has been in my family for over 200 years, she said. "We have a gift. We remember. Every guest who stays here leaves a little piece of themselves behind. Their joys, their sorrows, their secrets. The walls absorb them. The rooms remember. And when their descendants come, we give them back." She gestured for me to follow her. We went up to room 27. She opened the door and stood aside. "Your grandfather left something for you. He asked me to make sure you got it when you were ready." I stepped inside. The room was different. The furniture was older, the style from the 1940s. On the bed was a single photograph. My grandfather as a young man, in his military uniform, standing on this very balcony. On the back, in his handwriting, "For the grandson he'll never meet." I was here. I was happy. So will you be? I sat on the bed, tears streaming down my face. I felt him there. His presence. His memories. They seeped from the walls, from the air itself. I felt his fear during the war, his joy on his honeymoon, his peace in his old age. The room wasn't just a room. It was a time capsule of my own blood. I stayed for a week. I didn't want to leave. The room felt like home, like a connection to a past I'd never known. The old woman would bring me coffee and would talk about my family, about the generations of Vances who had sat in this same spot, looking out at the same courtyard. On my last night, I woke up at 3 a.m. The room was bathed in moonlight, and I wasn't alone. Standing at the foot of my bed were figures, translucent, shimmering, but unmistakable. A young couple on their honeymoon, a soldier in uniform, a little boy with his parents. My family. They were all there, watching me, smiling. The soldier, my grandfather, stepped forward. He didn't speak, but I heard his voice in my mind. "We've been waiting. We've been saving our memories for you. Now it's your turn. Leave something for the next one." He gestured to the wall, and I saw it. A new name, appearing on the wall as if written by an invisible hand. My name, below all the others. Ethan Vance, room 27. He remembered us. I left the next morning. I paid my bill and thanked the old woman. As I walked out the door, she called after me, "Mr. Vance? Don't wait so long to come back. We'll be here. We'll always be here. And now so will you." I'm back home now writing this. But I feel different. I feel older. Fuller. Sometimes late at night, I hear whispers. My grandfather's voice, telling stories. My grandmother's laugh. They're not ghosts. They're memories living in my mind, planted by that room. I'm going back next year. I have to. I need to leave more of myself behind. I need to add my name to the wall again. Because the room doesn't just remember you. It keeps you. It collects you. And once you've stayed there, a part of you never leaves. The hysteria is waiting for you too. And if you ever find it, be careful what you leave behind. I was a regional sales manager for a pharmaceutical company. That meant 48 weeks a year on the road, living out of a suitcase, sleeping in beds that thousands of strangers had slept in before me. I'd seen it all. Stained carpets, creepy crawlies in the bathroom, the occasional bloodstain on the sheets. Nothing fazed me anymore. Until the night I checked into the Manchester. It was a grand old hotel in downtown Cleveland, the kind with a marble lobby, crystal chandeliers, and bellhops who called you sir. My usual budget motel was fully booked due to a convention, so my company sprung for something nicer. I arrived at 11:47 p.m., exhausted after a flight delay. The night clerk was a young man with perfect posture and a smile that was just a little too wide. "Welcome, Mr. Harrison. We've been expecting you." I found that odd. I'd only booked the room 2 hours ago. He slid an old-fashioned metal key across the counter. Not a key card. An actual key, heavy and ornate, with a large brass fob. Room 712. The East Wing. The elevator is to your left. I glanced at the key. There was no number on it. Just the hotel's crest. There's no room number on here, I said. The clerk's smile didn't waver. "You won't need it. You'll know it when you see it." I should have walked out then. But I was tired. So tired. The elevator was old, with a folding metal gate that you had to pull closed yourself. It creaked its way up to the 7th floor with a sound like suffering. The hallway was long, dimly lit by sconces that flickered with real flames. The carpet was a deep crimson, so plush my feet sank into it. I started walking. Room 701. 703, 705. I passed 707, then 709. The next door should have been 711. But it wasn't. Where 711 should have been, there was just a long stretch of wall with a single dusty painting of a ship at sea. I kept walking, my tired brain struggling to make sense of it. 713, I'd passed it. I turned around and walked back. 709 wall. 713. There was number 711. I went back to the elevator, down to the lobby. The clerk was still there, still smiling. "There's no room 711, I said, a little too loudly. His smile didn't change, but his eyes did. They became patient. "Keep looking, Mr. Harrison. It's there. It's always been there." Frustrated and exhausted, I went back up. This time, I walked slower, running my hand along the wall where 711 should have been. My fingers touched something cold. Not wall. Wood. A door frame. I blinked. There it was. A door. Painted the exact same color as the wall, with a brass number 711, so tarnished it was almost invisible. How had I missed it? The key fit perfectly. The room was beautiful. High ceilings, antique furniture, a bed with a mountain of pillows, and a window that looked out over the city lights. I sighed with relief, took a long hot shower, and collapsed into bed. I woke up at 3:33 a.m. I know the time because the clock on the nightstand glowed red. I wasn't sure what had woken me. Then I heard it. A soft, rhythmic sound. Scratching. Coming from the other side of the wall. The one where the door should have been. the one that connected to room 709. Like fingernails on wood. I lay still, my heart pounding. It went on for maybe a minute. Then it stopped. A moment later, I heard a voice. A child's voice muffled by the wall. "Mommy, is it morning yet?" Another voice, a woman's, tired and sad. "Not yet, sweetie. Go back to sleep." I told myself it was just thin walls. Normal hotel sounds. I eventually drifted off. The next night, the same thing. 3:33 a.m. The scratching. The child's voice. "Mommy, is it morning yet?" The mother's reply. But this time, after she spoke, I heard something else. A man's voice, low and urgent. "We have to go. Now. He knows we're here." Then silence. I was fully awake now, covered in a cold sweat. I pressed my ear to the wall. Nothing. Just the old building settling. The third night, I was dreading it. I tried to stay awake, to prove to myself it was nothing. But I drifted off around 2 a.m. I woke at 3:33 a.m. to screaming. Not just talking. Screaming. The most horrible, desperate screams I've ever heard. The child was wailing. The woman was sobbing. The man was shouting, "No. No. Not my daughter." And above it all, a new sound. A heavy rhythmic pounding. Like something massive was hitting the door to their room. Then the screaming stopped. All of it. At once. As if someone had switched off a radio. I sat in my bed, paralyzed until dawn. I went to the lobby the next morning, my hands shaking. A different clerk was there, an older woman with kind eyes. "I need to change rooms," I said. 711, there's something wrong with it." Her face went pale. 711, sir? Are you sure you were in 711? "Yes. The East Wing. Next to 709. She shook her head slowly. "Sir, there is no room 711. Not anymore. It was sealed off in 1952, after the murder-suicide. A man, his wife, and their little girl. He thought someone was trying to get in. He barricaded the door. But whatever he was running from, it got in anyway. They found them 3 days later. The door was still barricaded from the inside." I stared at her. "That's impossible. I have the key." I pulled the heavy brass key from my pocket and slammed it on the counter. She looked at it, then back at me, her face a mask of pity and terror. "Sir," she whispered, pointing to the key. "That's the original master key. It's been missing for 70 years. It opens every door in this hotel, including the ones that aren't there anymore." I looked down at the key. The brass was warm in my hand, and etched into the fob, so faint I'd never noticed it before, was a tiny number. 1. I didn't go back to that room. I checked out immediately. But it didn't matter. For weeks afterward, I'd wake up at exactly 3:33 a.m., no matter where I was. And I'd hear them. The scratching. The little girl's voice. "Mommy, is it morning yet?" I've seen dozens of doctors. They say it's PTSD, a trauma-induced auditory hallucination. But last night, I woke up at 3:33. And this time, the little girl wasn't asking for her mother. Her voice was right next to my ear, not through a wall. "Mommy," she whispered, "there's a man in our room. Can we keep him?" I'm writing this in my car. I don't sleep in hotels anymore. But it doesn't matter. She's always there, waiting for 3:33. And I think soon, she's going to ask me to come back to room 711. Permanently.